You are Locked On Astros POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that absolutely sucked. The Astros implode tonight. Framber Valdez implodes tonight with an absolutely horrific fifth inning, and the Astros fall to the Los Angeles Angels in the first of three this week at Minute Maid Park. Welcome into the Locked On Astros postcast tonight. We're recapping the 9-7 loss to those Angels. Astros falling to 21-27. They had a win gift wrapped to them right there going into that fifth inning. And then Framber Valdez, they had a 6-1 lead, gave up 7 runs. Astros bats did not do anything after that against a bullpen that has been horrendous this year in Major League Baseball, one of the worst in baseball. They didn't get any hits. After Dubon's home run, they did not have another hit until Dubon had another hit in the ninth. That's how far back they went. But they're not the problem tonight. You score 6 runs like they did, or in the total 7, you should win those baseball games. And Framber Valdez is such a hot topic with people. And look, I get it. I think it's more out of frustration because we all know how great he can be. I mean, look, the guy was the best pitcher on the staff in 2022 when they won a World Series. And he was on the mound in that game and was brilliant. And he was overall brilliant. Basically, I think, other than maybe one start in the postseason. He has the stuff to be the staff ace. He is the kind of horse that this team needs. He's the kind of horse that any team kind of needs. There's always these ebbs and flows of it. You're allowed to have bad moments. Like, I'm not going to do the Framber's the worst thing in the history of time. Trade him. You can't do this. It's not silly season. We don't have to be silly with it. We can just be honest with our evaluation. He's too up and down at times. That's what it is. And this was a night tonight against the Angels that team's bad. You can't afford as the starting pitcher to go out there and, you can't go out there and do this against that team. You always have to give credit when they smack 3 balls over the fence, that they hit it hard and they did their thing, whatever. But you just can't do that. You just can't. Everything about this was set up again for another easy win. This team was going to be 7-1 so far on the homestand, which is just absolutely incredible. Look, 6-2 is not bad, but it doesn't help that tonight the Mariners came back and I think scored 4 runs in the ninth inning off the Yankees to win their game. So the Astros drop a game in the West, and it really stings when they drop a game in the West, but it really stings that you do this on a night where you had the win wrapped up right there. Look, the Astros did exactly what they needed to do. They came out and they took on Reed Detmers, a guy that they have crushed, absolutely crushed in the past. And, I mean, their at-bats were great against him. They put up numbers against him like they always do, and gave your starting pitcher everything in the world that he could have needed. That's still the one thing that with Framber that still gets so just darn frustrating. We all know that. Is that, the man is near, where is Framber now? Is he 30 years old? He's nearing 30 years old. Like, I can't get between his ears. You can't get between his ears. Like, every human is built differently. That's just how it is. He is 30 years old. It seems from the outside to all of us that, yes, like, how do you not have your emotions under control more often? Or, like, when things go bad, they spiral so far out of control. It's annoying. As a sports fan, of course. You as a sports fan want to watch consistency. You want to watch, exactly what an ace does every time, which is be consistent. And he's just never going to be absolutely consistent. I thought tonight, and really in that fifth inning, he started to do it. And I think it's a key for Framber. When you see it happen, his biggest issue is when he is, in my opinion, overthrowing. He doesn't need to throw 97 and try to throw 98. Like, I think he was up to like 97.8 or something on a pitch tonight in that fifth inning. Like, he doesn't need that, because when he does that, he gets less break on his sinker usually. He'll leave it over the middle of the plate, and then you see what happens. Things get crushed. Simple as that. But this is the life of the 2024 Astros. I was in my kitchen earlier, and I'm watching the game, and my nephew's in there with me, and he was watching earlier when it was 6-1, and he didn't know that they blew it. And I go, he's like, "What? How do you blow that?" And I'm like, "Wait, dude, it's the 2024 Astros. That's what they do. They screw up. They don't make anything easy at all. They just don't. It's what we have to live with. Even in a period of time where they've been great and played really good baseball, they're still going to make life a little bit difficult on you. Simple as that. I wish it wasn't the truth, but it kind of is. And now they've lost a game that they, absolutely should. They should have won. They're playing a team that's going to lose over 100 games this season. Now, look, overall, the Astros are still playing pretty good ball against the AL West this year. I believe they're 9-6 against the AL West. You get 13 chances against each team, 12 more against this Angels team. You can't afford to lose more than like 3 against this team. You just can't. Of course, you can't go through. It's very rare that you go through a year and smack them all around. I mean, you can't be what year was that? Is that the 2019 Astros that went like 18-1 against the Mariners? That's not likely. And maybe they could pull it off against Oakland. But when you have these games right there in hand, you just simply, you cannot continue to do that. And look, again, to the other side of it as well, the Angels have played better baseball of late. They've had some games, at least they've made life tough on the other teams. And that's the one thing Ron Washington's brought to them, is that they're pesky. And they're probably going to be a little bit more pesky than they've been in years past. So maybe they won't be the complete cakewalk, but talent for talent, we all know who should be winning these baseball games. The Astros, and by a lot. And tonight was one of those nights that they absolutely should have had that win, but they did not get it. Let's talk more about it. Let's talk more about Framber. Let's talk about the bats getting hot early, getting cold late, here in just a brief second after this quick message. First, I need to tell you about Policygenius. Are you looking for life insurance? You want to check it off your to-do list? Well, you can do that right now by getting with Policygenius. If you don't know what you're doing, which, look, a lot of us don't, it's important to have life insurance. You want to leave your loved ones one day with something left behind if you do leave them, and, well, you might not have a clue on what you're doing. It's okay. I've been there. We're all there. It is what it is. That's why Policygenius is there. They're there to help you find the right insurance for your needs. They're not biased. They're not there selling somebody else's product. They're there to give you opinions, best opinions on what is best for you and where to go with it. Policygenius, like I mentioned, they've got everybody sitting there waiting to help you get the life insurance that you need to set up your family if a bad time does come. Beginning and an end to everything, so you might as well be prepared for that end when it comes. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/lockedonmlb. And before we get back into our Astros discussion, I want to tell you a little bit more about something else that's great, and that's Yahoo Finance. Are you looking for a place to get all of your accounts into one place? Yes, it's that simple. It is absolutely a great, absolutely awesome, perfect place to get all your accounts managed into one place so you can see how your money is growing every single day with Yahoo Finance. They have a community of over 90 million users each month. Their real strength is helping you on your way to financial success. Securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors, and it's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. For comprehensive financial analysis, news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. Locked on Astros postcast following the brutal loss to the Los Angeles Angels tonight. Thank you for joining us. If you're new to the YouTube channel tonight, please hit the subscribe button. You can find this show anywhere that you get your podcast. Search for Locked on Astros, and you'll see this podcast and the work of Brett and Eric on the Locked on Astros podcast. They are with you 5 days a week. They'll have one up for you here very shortly, I'm sure, as well. So all the Astros conversation you need right here with you every single day. And then, of course, again, on YouTube, Locked on Sports Houston is the page. Hit the subscribe button. Go find it. If you're listening to this in audio version, and hit subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your kids, tell everybody to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube page. So, again, Framber Valdez, just a disaster. He's had some moments that have been bad. I don't think I've ever seen him implode in a given inning, one given inning, worse than that. And it happens so quickly. I, sent this out. All right, I guess I have to say it now because it's officially x.com or whatever. I X'd it. So stupid. I tweeted it. I was just sitting there, comfortably. Like, right when you're watching an Astros game, you're watching any, baseball game, but it's your team, the Astros. So often in the past, you get comfortable when they're up 6-1. They're playing a bad Angels team. Framber's rolling at this point. It's a cakewalk. I had, worked on my graphics for this, for the YouTube page, and, all my little stuff, the descriptions and all that. And you got it all set up to just hit go for a win. And I'm sitting there in that fifth inning. I'm like, you know what? I need to trim my nails. My nails. I need to trim my dog's nails, and I need to bathe them real quick. And I'll just put it on my laptop, and I'll watch it as I'm going. And I'm serious. I don't know how the dogs didn't get their paws hurt tonight, because I yelled out so many nasty things during that inning there for Framber Valdez, because my mind was blown. My jaw was to an extent on the floor. To happen that fast, giving up 3 home runs like that in that inning, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And they have nobody to blame tonight, of course, but themselves for losing, and they have Framber has nobody to blame but himself for how he pitched in that given inning, because if you keep doing that, well, then guess what? Things are going to go poorly. It's better, I guess. I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, that if he's going to do this in a game, it's the game where they only have 2 left after this one before they go to an off day on Thursday, because we know how much the pitching, has been used at times. But, he still was able at least to get through 5, I guess. Bullpen behind him, Montero gave up a run tonight. Everybody else was good. Nice to see Ryan Presley back and have a very easy 1-2-3 inning for him. And then, of course, on the other side of things, the bats, as I mentioned earlier, they just, it's easy to sit there and say that. You go and look at it. Look, they hit 400 with runners in scoring position tonight. 4 for 10 is not a bad number. And then they left just 6 men on base. It's just that simple, because they just went in a lull. They can't afford those lulls in the middle of games like that when you have the ability to go out and blow it up. Simple as that. Sorry, I'm getting a billion. No, I'm just. our significant other. Sometimes, they know you're doing something and then they just got to blow up your phone. Like, just wait a minute. I'll be done in like 15 minutes. But the Astros can't have those lulls in the game. I guess if I'm looking for the positive signs of tonight, Jose Altuve is hitting the ball hard, and that's good. And he hits the ball over the fence against Detmers. Yordan Alvarez had a couple of good swings against him, had a single, had a double. Other than that, not a lot to write home about other than the bottom of the lineup. Yiner with a couple of hits. He needs that in the worst way. They have to have that out of him. And then Dubon with a 3-hit night, including his second home run of the season. So I guess that covers my positives, right? You get 10 hits in the game. It's hard to have any kind of good feeling about anything in a game where your starting pitcher goes out there and he basically vomited all over his jersey in front of us in that inning there. I think it's about the only way to describe it. He didn't physically vomit, of course, but like figuratively, that's what he did on the mound. And again, I understand that those moments are going to happen in baseball, but you can't let it happen consistently. And his ERA now in the season's up over 4, and it's been a little bit of this since he's been back. I just need to pull up Framber's logs, basically, since he's come back. Of course, he rejoined the team after the injured list stint. That was in that start against the Rockies in Mexico City. He was really good in that one, and I think he gave it, 1 or 2 runs in his 7 innings overall. Or maybe was he not 7 innings? No, he's 5 innings, 2 runs. What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the Detroit start. Next start wasn't so good. Next start was great. Next start was great. This start wasn't so good, to be nice. So you'd like to find a groove. Remember their quality start tour that he went on a couple of years ago? If they could find that version of Framber just a little bit, just a tad, they need to find that. And for him, it matters because he's a guy that after next season will be a free agent. And all the little things that we talk about, all this, that, and the other, like, this is why he doesn't have a contract now and why he's not likely to get one from the Astros. Somebody's going to enjoy him. I don't think he's going to enjoy his free agent experience as much once he gets there. Once he gets there, and he will probably not get the kind of money that he would expect on an open market. So that's a little bit of a ways away. Will be interesting to see when it gets there, but just thinking ahead for Framber in that standpoint. Tomorrow, absolutely must bounce back in that one. Let's talk about tomorrow's game for a few moments before we say good night on the Locked On Astros postcast. But right now, are you struggling to close deals? Business-to-business selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn's Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are the most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date, first-party data enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a free 60-day trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell you like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started today. All right, the Locked On Astros postcast here with you for a few more minutes after a tough loss for the Astros tonight. As bad as you could imagine. They were winning 6-1. It just felt like another night against the Angels. It really, really did. It just felt like, oh, they're in town. Great. Sweep. First game of the series. Detmer's on the mound. Guy they've crushed in the past. Easy win. Matchups for the rest of this series. Tomorrow night, Griffin Canning goes for the Angels. He's been bad this season. Christian Javier going for the Astros. If he can pitch like he did last time, the Astros they'll be set up pretty well. And then Wednesday, day game, Tyler Anderson for the Angels in that one. They have the pitching matchup advantage in that one. He's going to go up against Hunter Brown. So tomorrow, it's a lot like that second game against the oh, good Lord. Who did they just play this past weekend? Why am I blanking off the top of my head? The Brewers. That's bad. I'm ready for bed. But it's a lot like losing that Saturday game to the Brewers. Bouncing back tomorrow to me is a must. You can't let these things linger when you play bad. You just can't. It's something that I'm sorry, I got a million text messages. I'm not enjoying my life right now with my phone. You can't have those things become something that hang around and then you play for bad for a few days because you're in the position that you're in, 21 and 27 on the season. I got a little bold with it the other day, and the Astros, I was like, hey, you know what? They're going to absolutely get back to 500 by the end of the month of May. Okay. I bit off more than I could chew there. I'm willing to admit that. I also did say recently, I was like, hey, they're not going to make the postseason. I hope I'm wrong on that one. I look like I have a chance of being wrong on that one. That's important to me. But not letting this linger into tomorrow is pretty dang big. To the questions that you guys keep asking, I keep seeing them in here. I've seen a few about Bregman and everything. Why is he hitting fourth? I mean, look, I'll give Bregman this. His bat recently has been hot, and they are moving around the lineup a little bit. I know that it's not a perfect situation necessarily to have Bregman hitting in the 4-hole. I think the ideal lineup for the Astros, if I'm just doing it off my top of my head here, for me, I like Altuve obviously in the leadoff spot. I like Pena hitting 2, Tucker 3, Jordan 4, then Bregman 5 is fine. Espada, gave him or went ahead and rewarded him with the fact that, that he performed well recently, and it looked like the swing had been fixed a little bit. But the results last few days not been all that great, and the numbers are back to, what is he at? He's at 220 on the season, 637 OPS. They're not good. That's just not good. But really, it's more about the clutch moments and whatnot. And they don't get a lot of those out of him. They don't get a lot of those out of a lot of guys. There's been a lot of guys in this team that have just not handled situations where they need to drive in runs this year all that well. It's been well documented. Again, tonight, 4 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You can live with that. You can absolutely win baseball games with that consistently. But it's the getting it in the big spot to win the baseball game that, doesn't happen all the time for this baseball team. So they have to find it tomorrow. Again, they're facing a pitcher in Griffin Canning that they've had success against in the past, that he's having a terrible season so far this year. He's a guy that you can absolutely light up. And to be honest with you, if you don't light him up, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed. And I would be disappointed if your starting pitcher comes out again and does what he does. Simple as that. It just that cannot continue at all. So we'll see what goes on out there. But I expect a much better day overall tomorrow. Of course, we'll be with you here for the Locked On Astros postcast. When that game gets done as well, we're with you after every game. And it's not just the Astros. If you're new to this channel, again, hit the subscribe button. Would appreciate it. We will do this at the Rockets games, Texans games, Cougs games. We've got it all covered, Houston sports-wise, with the Locked On Sports Houston page right here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Again, tomorrow night, join us after the final pitch of Astros and Angels, where we will hopefully talk about a much better result for the Stros than we did tonight.